Good evening. This is lecture 15 of our intermediate accounting covering liabilities. Specifically, these liabilities are called gift certificates and bonus. We will discuss the details of this type of liabilities, how it was presented and how it operates. So, gift certificates payable will appear as one of the liabilities of your company in the statement of financial position. So, let's have an illustrative problem for us to clearly understand the meaning of gift certificates payable. Gift certificates payable usually applies to shopping malls, grocery stores, and supermarkets. It is being launched by the shopping mall or any supermarket to increase the sales. Because that is why it is called gift certificate. If you want to give something to your loved ones or any person important to you, and you do not know what kind of gift are you going to present to him or to her, it is advisable to buy gift certificates. The holder of the gift certificate can purchase anything from the grocery store, supermarket, shopping malls, boutique, and even in selected fast food chain or fast food restaurant, and that will be honored as payment. So you will not bring cash. You will just present the gift certificates given to you by somebody. So if you do not know, if you are the giver of the gift and you do not know what type of gift will be given to a special someone, it is advisable to purchase or buy gift certificates that will serve as cash in purchasing anything. So gift certificates payable will appear as one of the liabilities of the issuer. The issuer here is the shopping mall or the grocery or supermarket. So here is the example. Edsel Shopping Mall printed gift certificates as part of their strategy to boost sales revenue. So the purpose of gift certificate is to promote sales, to increase sales. It is one way of promoting your supermarket, your shopping mall, or your grocery store. So the cost of printing of these gift certificates is 250,000 pesos. So prepare journal entries under the following situations. Number 1, recognition of printing cost. Number 2, all the printed gift certificates were sold for 300,000 pesos and gift certificates worth 175 pesos were redeemed, and the last transaction is the unredeemed gift certificates. So these are the requirements of this illustrative problem that we are going to present in this lecture. So let's answer them one by one. The first one, is the recognition of printing cost. So the entry is an expense. We will recognize the expense, and that is debit printing expense for the gift certificates of 250,000 and credit cash 250,000 pesos. So we paid cost because we incurred expenses to print the gift certificates. So gift certificates are pre-numbered accountable forms. Hence, appropriate control should be in place. So in auditing, all pre-numbered accountable forms should be controlled. What do you mean by accountable forms? The word itself, you are accountable for the form that you issued. It is pre-numbered because it can easily be identified if an item is missing. So the form was arranged in such a manner that any missing item can easily be identified. Just like the money in circulation, it has serial number. The checks being issued, it has a check number. So the purpose of the pre-numbering or serial numbers is to ensure that the forms are controlled and no one or no item is missing. So when you say control, a logbook should be maintained showing the serial numbers and the number of pieces that were received and the number of pieces that were released. So the logbook is just like your general ledger. It will show how many items you receive. You will record that. You will record the serial number, the number of pieces, the denomination. When you released items of gift certificates, you will record that in your logbook. And then the most important one is the balance. So that during the balancing procedures, you can determine the remaining amount and the remaining items in your possession. That is why we call it pre-numbered accountable forms. So here is an illustration of a gift certificate. This is an actual gift certificate issued by Sodexo. This gift certificate can be presented and be honored in any SM shopping malls. It is also being honored at Robinson's Mall and Robinson's Department Store as well as Robinson's Supermarket. It is also being honored in some restaurants and fast food chain. So this is how the gift certificate appear. So the amount written with peso sign on the right side is your denomination. So if you have 3 pieces of gift certificates with denomination of 100 pesos, that means 300 pesos. If you have 10 pieces, that is 3,000 pesos. So that is the denomination, just like your money. And then we have here the serial number. The significance of serial number, as I have said, is that it will serve as a control mechanism. You can easily identify if something is missing among the inventory of the gift certificates. And we have here the QR code. I will explain in this succeeding slide what do you mean by QR code and also the barcode. Actually, QR code and barcode are control mechanisms designed so that the system can identify the certificate. So here is the explanation. Barcodes are applied to gift certificates as a means of quick identification. Barcode is a system-generated codes. It is embedded in the gift certificate. The purpose of the barcode is quick identification. Upon presentation of the gift certificates, it can easily be identified by the system if authentic or not. Try to observe some cashiers in any department store, grocery store, or supermarket. They are using a device in the form of a gun, and that gun is being focused on the barcode. It is being read by the system, because once presented, it can no longer be used again. So the barcode is a control mechanism to authenticate if the gift check being presented is a genuine certificate. So once the device in the form of gun was focused on the barcode or the gift check will be registered in the system of the shopping mall or grocery store, and it can no longer be used again. That is the purpose of the barcode. And then we have the QR code or quick response code. It is a type of two-dimension barcode that is used to provide easy access to information through a smartphone. As applied to gift certificate, this is another way of determining its authenticity. In other words, the quick response code or QR code is a second line of defense. If the barcode is not functioning, you can use the quick response code to identify the gift certificates being presented. So here is the example of logbook for gift certificates. Some banking institutions are using the same format in the logbook so that the accountable form can easily be controlled. So you may notice we have the receipt, issuance, and balance. On the receipt portion, once you receive the batch of gift certificates, you have to record the date when you actually receive the batch of gift certificates, and then you will list the serial number. If the serial number that you receive is 0001 up to 000100, you will write those serial numbers in the logbook. And also you will write the denomination. In some instances, gift certificates are in the denomination of 100, 200, and 500. And then you will indicate the number of pieces of the gift certificates that you receive. If you will issue, upon issuance of these gift certificates, upon issuance to customers, you will indicate the date of issue and the serial numbers of the gift certificates that you issued, the denomination of the gift certificates that you issued, and the number of gift certificates, the number of pieces of gift certificates that you issued. Of course, you will determine the balance so that upon audit or upon balancing procedures, it is very easy to identify how many items are remaining in your possession for the gift certificates. So you have to list the remaining gift certificates here in your possessions. You will indicate the serial numbers, the denomination, and the number of pieces in your possession. Let's continue. So, this is the question number 2. We will provide journal entries if all the printed gift certificates were sold for 300,000 pesos. So, under question number 2, the shopping mall who issued the gift certificates were sold, all of them, to the customers, and the selling price is 300,000 pesos. The 300,000 pesos is the total amount of gift certificates that you issued based on denominations. So the entry is debit cash, 300,000 pesos, because you received the amount from the customers. And then you will now create the liability. Gift certificates payable, 300,000 pesos. The question is, why is it classified as liability? Do you have an obligation? Yes, you have an obligation. That is why gift certificates payable is a liability. Not only because it has the word payable, it is a liability because we have an obligation. What is the obligation? You have the obligation to honor the gift certificate upon presentation to the cashier of the mall or any grocery store or supermarket wherein it was used. Again, I will repeat for the benefit of everybody. It is a liability. What is a liability? What is your obligation? What is your legal obligation? You have the obligation to honor the gift certificates upon presentation to the cashier of the shopping mall, grocery store, or supermarket. So naturally, the selling price of gift certificates is greater than the cost because it is based on denominations. The cost of printing of these certificates is 250,000 pesos. The amount of 250,000 pesos is the amount that we spent for the paper, payment to the printing company who printed the gift check. Because it is a different kind of paper. It is a paper with security features. So, the amount of 250,000 that we mentioned in the problem is the cost of printing the gift certificate. So, in this case, if the denomination of this certificate is 100 pesos, Edsel Mall means sold 3,000 pieces of gift certificates, and that is 300,000 pesos divided by 100 pesos. That is why it is 300,000. So it has a denomination of 100 pesos multiplied by 3,000 pieces. The gift certificates that we sold to the customers is 300,000 pesos. We received cash, and then we created a liability because we have an obligation. That is, what is an obligation? The obligation is to honor the gift certificates upon presentation. Requirement number 3. What is the journal entry? If gift certificates worth 175,000 pesos were redeemed. What do you mean by the word redeemed? It was used. It was used to purchase items in the shopping mall, grocery stores, supermarket, or it may have been used to purchase food in a fast food restaurant. That is the meaning of redeem. It was used to purchase something. And what is the entry? The entry is debit gift certificates payable 175,000 pesos and credit sales 175,000 pesos. Let me explain this entry. Gift certificates payable is debited because we reduce our liability. Our liability was lessened because we already honored the gift certificates worth 175,000 pesos. We credited sales because we sold the items in our possession. If we are the grocery store, if we are the supermarket, if we are the shopping mall, we sold our merchandise to them, to the holder of the gift certificates. That is why sales was credited. Next, requirement number 4. What is the journal entry for unredeemed gift certificates? Meaning to say the unused gift certificates. Example, you issued the gift certificates 3 years ago and nobody is using it. You sold it to the customers, but nobody is using the gift certificates that you sold to the customers. What will be the journal entry? Since the Department of Trade and Industry, or DTI, ruled that gift certificates have no expiry dates, there will be no journal entry for the purpose. It is the ruling. So we cannot break the ruling of the Department of Trade and Industry. There is no expiry. Meaning, anytime. Even if you sold the gift certificates from your customers 10 years ago, upon presentation, you will honor it. The unredeemed amounts shall remain outstanding as accounts payable unless a request for write-off was approved by the board and DTI. If you have that strong feeling that the gift certificates will no longer be redeemed, you have that gut feeling that this will remain outstanding, you may request for write-off. As practice in the industry, request for write-off is being approved by the board. But even if it was approved by the board, you have to seek approval from the Department of Trade and Industry, because this is a deviation from the ruling. This is an exception to the rule. That is why you have to seek approval from the government through the Department of Trade and Industry. Let's proceed to the next topic. This is about bonus. And we will tackle on how to compute the bonus. We are talking here of liability. Bonus is a liability. Our company has a liability to the employees wherein the bonus was intended. So large entities often compensate key officers and employees by way of bonus for superior income realized during the year. So the bonus is being given to officers and employees. What is the reason? Because of exemplary performance during the year. Maybe the management of your company is happy and delightful for the performance of employees. They will give bonus. And this bonus, if not yet distributed to the employees but already computed, will be recorded as a liability. So this type of bonus is not the regular bonus being given to employees. In other words, this is based on generated income beyond the normal. The company usually have net income at the end of every year. But the income that was generated by your company during the year is beyond the normal. The performance of your company is exemplary or outstanding. So because of this, management was delightful. So management is generous enough to distribute bonuses to their employees. So this is not the regular bonus. What is the regular bonus? Regular bonus, on the other hand, refers to those embedded in company rules and policy. Because in almost all companies, they are giving bonuses. These bonuses are regular, meaning every year you will receive these bonuses like Christmas bonus. Some companies are giving quarterly bonuses to their employees. Some of them are giving semi-annual bonus. These bonuses are written in the company rules and policy. The bonus that we are discussing here is not the regular bonus. It is the bonus to be given by way of reward for superior income realized during the year, meaning the income that we realize is beyond the normal income. If we have an average income of 10 million pesos in the last 5 years of our operations, and then suddenly it became 30 million, that is an exemplary performance. Some companies are giving bonuses to their employees because of this beyond the normal performance. The main purpose of this scheme is to motivate officers and employees by directly relating their well-being to the success of the entity. Because a company will not become successful without the effort of the employees. The greatest asset of any organization are the employees. Without them, the company will not perform well. And this is the purpose of this bonus, to motivate officers and employees by directly relating their well-being to the success of the entity, meaning they are part of the success of the company. But in some instances, this type of bonus is not given to all employees, but rather to those with exemplary performance only. This kind of bonus is being applied by some companies on selective basis, meaning it will depend on the performance of the employee. Or in some companies, the amount of bonus to be given depends on the performance of the employee. In some companies, they call it performance bonus. Some of them call it president's bonus or chairman's bonus. But one thing is clear here, this is not the regular bonus being given to the employees. This compensation plan results in liability that must be measured and reported in the financial statements. So, the compensation plan results in liability. Once management computed the bonus, they have determined the amount of the total bonus to be given to all employees. They will set up a liability. Because as practice, the payment of bonus will be given the following year. And we have 4 variations in bonus computations. The first variation is bonus is expressed as a certain % of income before bonus and before tax. So the bonus is computed. This is the easiest way of computing the bonus. Just multiply the certain percentage to the income that was derived by the company in the previous year. Number 2, bonus is expressed as a certain percent of income after bonus but before tax. This is quite complicated because you will compute the amount of bonus based on income after bonus. So you will compute it. If bonus is not given, how will you compute for the bonus based on the income after bonus? Number 3 is also quite complicated. Bonus is expressed as a certain percentage of income after bonus and after tax. And also, number 4, bonus is expressed as a certain percent of income after tax but before bonus. Although items 2, 3, and 4, we can say that quite complicated, there are some ways of computing the bonus in these 3 cases. So let's have an illustrative problem. The problem is about Yumi Company. Yumi Company showed a tremendous performance by generating an income of 4,400,000 pesos for the first time as of December 31, 2019. This company experienced losses on its first 3 years of operations. So here you can see that the income generated by the company is exemplary because in the previous years they suffered losses. So management decided to give bonus to employees because of this development. So below are the data. Income before bonus and before tax as given, it is 4,400,000 pesos. The bonus percentage is 10% and the income tax rate as provided by the tax law is 30%. Compute for the amount of bonus based on the 4 variations mentioned in the lecture. So we will compute based on the 4 cases that was mentioned. So here is the solution for the first variation based on income before bonus and before tax. As I have said, this is the easiest approach in the computation of the bonus. So we have here the income before bonus and before tax of 4,400,000 pesos. Just multiply by the bonus percentage of 10%, the amount of bonus to be distributed to the employees is 440,000 pesos. In accounting, as I have reminded everybody, for every business transaction that you encountered, you must know the journal entry. Even if it is not written in the book, you must explore to know the journal entry for each transaction. So in this case, the journal entry to recognize this liability of 440,000 pesos is debit bonus expense 440,000 pesos and credit bonus payable of 440,000 pesos. You have an expense, you decided to give bonus to your employees, but that expense is not yet paid. That is why you created a liability of bonus payable. Let's proceed to the second case, second approach or second variation. So the bonus will be based on income after bonus but before tax. It is quite complicated. How can you compute for the bonus if the basis is income after bonus but before tax? So let's present. The income before bonus and before tax is 4,400,000 pesos. We are asked to compute for the bonus. But our basis of computation is not 4,400,000. The basis of our computation is the income after bonus but before tax. Meaning we will deduct first the bonus and then we will multiply the result by 10%. But how can we compute if we do not know the amount of the bonus? So the income after the bonus is missing. We do not know what is the income after the bonus. Why we do not know? Because we do not know how much is the bonus. How can you compute for the income after the bonus if you do not know what is the bonus? But there is one clue given in the problem, the percentage of bonus. The percentage of bonus is 10%. If the bonus is 10% and the basis of 10% is the income after bonus, meaning you will multiply 10% by income after the bonus, therefore, the income after the bonus is 100%. If the income after the bonus is 100% and the bonus is 10%, therefore, the income before bonus and before tax is 110%. So now we can compute for the income after the bonus. And also, we can compute now for the bonus. So how? How can we determine the income after the bonus? It is simply 4,400,000 divided by 110%. In this case, you can arrive at the amount of income after the bonus, and that is 4 million pesos. The basis of the bonus computation is the income after the bonus. Therefore, we will multiply 10% by 4 million pesos to arrive at the 400,000 pesos bonus. So now it is a clear picture how we arrive at the bonus of 400,000 pesos and how we arrive at the income after bonus of 4 million pesos. So this is now the income after the bonus of 4 million, and the basis of our computation of bonus is based on 4 million pesos because that is the income after the bonus but before tax. So we simply multiply by bonus percentage of 10%. The amount of our bonus therefore is 400,000 pesos. And this is a clear computation of case number 2 or variation number 2. Bonus is computed based on income after bonus but before tax. So let's proceed to the third variation. So bonus will be computed based on income after bonus and after tax. Meaning, the basis of our computation is after deducting the bonus and after deducting the tax. So how can we compute if the bonus and the tax are not given? So in this particular item, particular case, we have no choice but to prepare algebraic expression. So we can now apply the things that we learned in algebra. So let B is the bonus. Let T is the tax. So we will prepare an expression based on algebra so that we can answer this particular requirement. So if B is the bonus, B is 0.10, that is 10%. According to the problem, 10% is the rate of the bonus. The computation is 10% multiplied by income after bonus and after tax. Therefore, here is the formula. 4,400,000 minus bonus minus tax. Because that is what number 3 variation requires. 10% multiplied by 4,400,000 minus bonus minus tax. What is next? So, the tax is 0.30. That is given in the problem, 30%. So, to compute for the tax, that is 30% multiplied by 4,400,000 minus bonus. But the bonus is not given. So, how can you compute? How can you proceed with the computation? We can do this by replacement. So, since we have determined the expression for B and the expression for T, we can proceed with the computation. So, to compute for the bonus, that is 0.10 multiplied by 4,400,000 minus B. That is the expression for B. And then, we will replace T by the expression of T. So, minus 0.3 multiplied by 4,400,000 minus B. We just replaced. And then, let's shorten the expression for the T. So, 0.10 multiplied by 4,400,000 minus B minus 1,320,000. That is 30% of 4,400,000 minus 0.30B plus 0.30B. Why plus? Because negative multiplied by negative is positive. And we multiplied 0.3 by negative B. That is why the resulting figure is positive 0.30B. So that is how we express. Next, so B equals 440,000. Where did we get 440,000? That is 0.10 multiplied by 4,400,000. That is 440,000. And then, we have 0.10B. Where did we get 0.10B? That is 0.10 multiplied by negative B. Minus 132,000. Where did we get 132,000? That is 0.10 multiplied by 1,320,000 pesos. And then, 0.03B, where did we get that? That is 0.10 multiplied by 0.30B. So, let's proceed. So, we combined the figures with letter B. So, B plus 0.10B minus 0.03B. So, where did we get 0.10B? That is the one that we computed in the previous slide, and we transfer 0.03B. Why negative? Because the sign of 0.03B on the right side is positive. If you will transfer that to the left side, it will become negative. So, equals 440,000 minus 132,000. So, we continue to simplify. This will become 1.07B. Why? Because B represents 1. So, 1B plus 0.10B is 1.10B minus 0.03B is 1.07B, and that is 308,000 pesos. We further simplify. B equals 308,000 pesos divided by 1.07. So, bonus equals 287,850 pesos. So, as simple as that. That is how we arrive at the bonus. Now, we can proceed with the computation. T equals 0.3 multiplied by 4,400,000. This is the formula that we developed in the previous slide. We will now deduct the bonus, 287,850.4673. This is the expanded figure with decimal points. So 0.3 multiplied by 4,400,000 minus 287,850, that is the bonus that we computed. So let's proceed with the simplification. So 1,320,000, that is 30% of 4,400,000 minus 86,355.14, that is 0.3 multiplied by 287,850, 0.4673. So the T or the tax is 1,233,645. So by this means, we have computed the amount of the bonus and we have also computed for the amount of tax. The amount of the bonus is 287,850 and the amount of tax is 1,233,645. And that 287,850 is the one that we used in the simplifying the formula for T or tax. So let's prove the computation of bonus and tax. So the income before bonus and before tax is 4,400,000. We will deduct the bonus as we computed of 287,850. We will also deduct the income tax of 1,233,645. We will arrive at the income after bonus and after tax. Take note of that. 4,400,000, we deducted the bonus, we deducted the tax. Why we deducted? Because the computation of the bonus as required by case number 3 is based on income after bonus and after tax. So if that is the case, we will multiply this 2,878,505 by 10%. That is the bonus rate, and the bonus is 287,850. So we have proven that the computation generated through algebraic expression are correct. So the next variation is that the bonus will be computed based on income after tax but before bonus. So here is the formula using algebraic expression. So bonus equals 0.10 multiplied by 4,400,000, the income minus T or tax. So that is the formula for bonus. So let's get the formula for tax. 0.3 multiplied by 4,400,000 minus bonus. So let's proceed with the solution. So bonus equals 0.10 multiplied by 4,400,000 minus 0.3 multiplied by 4,400,000 minus B, because that is that 0.3 multiplied by 4,400,000 minus B represents the tax. So let's simplify further. 0.10 multiplied by 4,400,000 pesos minus 1,320,000 pesos, that is 0.3 multiplied by 4,400,000 pesos minus plus 0.30B. Why plus? Because we multiplied negative 0.3 by negative B. And the result is positive. That is why plus 0.30B. Let's further simplify. 440,000. What is that? That is 0.10 multiplied by 4,400,000 minus 132,000. Why? Because 0.10 multiplied by 1,320,000 and then plus 0.03B. Why 0.03B? That is 0.10 multiplied by 0.30B. So we will transfer the figures with letter B. So B minus 0.03B equals 440,000 minus 132,000. So that means 0.97B equals 308,000 pesos. So let's compute for the bonus. 308,000 pesos divided by 0.97. And the bonus is 317,526. So here is the bonus that we computed. So let's prove the answer. The income before bonus and before tax is 4,400,000 pesos. The tax is 4,400,000 pesos minus 317,526. That is the bonus that we computed in the previous slide multiplied by 30% tax rate, that is 1,224,742. We will deduct that to arrive the income after tax but before bonus of 3,175,258. This will now be the basis of our bonus computation. So multiply by the bonus rate of 10%, we will arrive at the bonus of 317,526. So all the concepts, theories, and illustrative problems discussed in this lecture were taken from the book written by Balix, Peralta, and Balix entitled Intermediate Accounting. So the explanations and examples in italics are provided by me as the lecturer. So we will continue our discussion covering the remaining items on liabilities in intermediate accounting, and also we will discuss some problems, multiple choice problems in the book. Thank you very much and good evening.